It's Pete from Cheap Homesteading, and today we are working on our emergency preparedness, and we've been working through the SAS survival manual. So today we're going to make a survival kit. Basically, it's going to be everything you need to survive condensed into a can. So it's really important, if you don't have a military background, or even if you do, that you kind of have a book to go by or a list of stuff you need to put into a can, because it's so much stuff that you kind of would never remember it all. So it's kind of good to make up a list. I got most of it out of the survival manual, and I looked online, and I think I felt like I got everything together I need to actually make a good survival kit. The way our weather has been, and the way that people are saying the weather is going, I think it's really important to have a good solid plan what you're going to do in case of an emergency. So there's a bunch of different kits and stuff that we got to get together so we can put it in a bag so it's all ready to go. If we have to take it, or if it's here, it's just going to help us in those emergency situations. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to assemble the very simple survival kit. So I went basically to the dollar store. I had to go to multiple dollar stores because I just couldn't get it. And some of the stuff I got from here. The can we're going to use, they use a very small can, but this is a vintage pocket tackle box. I think that's going to work good. It isn't waterproof, but I did get some Ziploc bags, so I'm going to try to keep everything really, really dry. And so yeah, let's start putting this in together. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is, this is the kit I'm going to use. I'm going to hold everything, and it's basically a pocket tackle box from probably the 60s. I like vintage stuff. There's a divider, and I don't think the divider is useful, so we're going to take that out. So that's what the basis of our survival kit is going to be. In the manual, so the first thing is we got to get some matches in there, and even though I want a bunch of matches, I can't have like a whole box of matches in there because that's going to take up way too much room. So these are, they say non-safety matches, but you can't really get non-safety matches anymore. So I'm going to take a bit of aluminum. I'm going to cut off the striking part of the matchbox. I think I cut this too short. And I'm going to put this down and away from the matches just in case they try to strike the matches. Okay, so there you go. So I've got about 15, maybe 20 matches in there, and they only take that much space, so that's going to fit in there. They said candles because you can actually start fires with them. You can have a bit of light. So that's what, I don't think I can go with more than one, and I think possibly even this little aluminum cup might come in handy for something. So we're going to throw one candle in there. You need multiple ways to start a fire, so we have some matches and we got a candle. The other way is a magnesium starter. I bought it from Dollarama for $3.50. So take that out of the package. So basically it comes with the striker, the magnesium body, and the flint. So we're gonna fit that in there. So now there's 2 ways to start fire in the kit. So they're wanting to get 3. So you really need to put in some contingency, because fire is one of those most important thing, especially if it's cold out or cooking or purifying water. You really do need to be able to start a fire. So the third way is they want to have a magnifying glass, and I thought, how can I condense a magnifying glass and all different things? And I found this compass, and it's a map compass, and it was pretty cheap. I got it on Amazon. So it has a built-in magnifying glass in it. I think you'd be able to start a fire with it. We're gonna have to try that later to make sure. So now we have a compass and a way to start a fire. So I'm trying to combine as much as I can. So now magnifying glass, so we got that. Needle and thread. Needle and thread is a really important thing. If you have to stitch yourself up or sew something up, it is going to be handy, handy, handy. I got that off Amazon because surprisingly enough, you can't find needle and thread at Dollarama or the dollar stores. I don't know what, if people stop sewing stuff, they probably have. They've just been throwing stuff away. But so on Amazon, it's like a 4-pack. So I'm gonna put one whole pack in. So we need thread. So I'm gonna put, I don't know, this might be too big. But I'm gonna put one thing of black thread in here. So I got a bunch of fish hooks with some line on it. They're from the dollar store. So I went and I got some of these little Ziploc bags. So we're gonna try to loop these up and just put them in the bag. So that gives us a good amount of hooks in the bag, and so that gives us about, I don't know, 10, well, so that gives about 15 hooks, I think, in the bag. So I think that's gonna be enough. We'll set that in there. Okay, so I need some fishing line. I didn't go out and buy it. So basically I have some monofilament line on hooks here. So if I do like a night line or anything like that, I will hook the monofilament to this. This line is tough braided line. I'm going to use another one of the spools of thread, and I'm going to use it to just wrap some line around. Okay, so I think that is as much as I'll need. There you go. So we wanted a mini flashlight so you can read maps or do stuff. You have to do it at night. It won't be a really great flashlight, but we just need something. And I went to the Dollar Tree and I got a little flashlight like this. It has, inside, it has like little watch batteries. And I find the watch batteries don't degrade over time. You may go dead, but they don't kind of all corrode and damage the flashlight. So I thought that was a good option. It is reasonably bright for what it is, and it's small space. So we're gonna put that in. Snare wire. So you need 2 to 3 feet of snare wire. I went to the Dollarama and I got that. I think this wire is gonna be good. Oh. Oh man. That's good for the scissors. Okay, so that wire is actually pretty impressive. Okay, so I might as well just put a loop in it now for the snare end. Yeah, so I feel like this could be 2 snares. At least 1 for sure. But, so we're gonna wrap this up in a loop. And then we're gonna wrap this. Snaring is an effective way in a survival situation for you to get food. So I'm gonna throw that in there. Okay, so now we need a flexible saw. So I bought this saw off of Amazon. It's just basically a very simple rope saw. So I'll probably leave it in the bag. We'll throw it in there. So we are done the survival part of this kit. So now we're going to do the medical part of it. Basically, we're going to make sure that if there are pills, that we label them properly and put the expiry date in them. But it is really important to make sure that you label it properly and you kind of know when it expires. There are certain things in this book that I'm not going to really need. I'm not in an area that has malaria. It's not a tropical area, so some of that stuff I'm not going to get, but there is a lot of the stuff that's in here that I really do need, so let's start getting that in the kit. Okay, so we got the pain relief stuff done. We need something for, in case allergies, insect bites. And that is really important if you have someone in your family or anyone that's going to be most likely with you that has other allergies, because it's kind of important to have something that can kind of stop an allergic reaction. So I'm just get some Benadryl. The good thing about these little blister packings, they actually have expiry dates on them, so you don't have to label it. Okay, so water sterilizing tablets. Okay, your best goal is to actually boil water, but you do want to have some water sterilizing tablets in case you're kind of on the move or a very isolated time that you can't boil water. You need to drink water. So these were a little bit pricey. I went out to Canadian Tire and got some Aqua tabs. That's what these are. And they're basically sterilizing tablets, so you could put them in your water and then you can drink the water. So people use them for traveling and stuff into areas that have really bad water. These things are very, they don't take up a ton of space, so I think I'm going to put them all in. I forget how many. There is 50 tablets in here. So this book is super, super handy because you know what? I'm trying to look at what is in the kit and there's no way I would have thought of everything. All the stuff makes common sense, but I just wouldn't have thought of it. So that's the end of the medication area. Now we need surgical blades. I guess if you got something really stuck in you and that, I mean, you're not going to be doing a surgery, but you know, when you're actually out in the woods, you need to be prepared. So it's kind of important that you make sure you have everything. I went to the Dollar Tree and I found this craft knife set. It's got everything you need, basically a bunch of different knives, different angles and everything. So I think that's gonna work. I mean, it's not high tech or anything. I like the way this is held together. I think what I'm gonna do is just put a piece of clear plastic, like packing tape over it to hold everything in place. Because I think that isn't too bulky for my tin. I think I can still set it in. So there you go, that's handy, and I should be able to peel it up without a lot of effort. And it'll fit in there and it doesn't take up too much space. You lose a bit of space there, but I'm sure I can shove stuff in. So butterfly sutures. If you get a really bad cut and you should have stitches, sometimes you can use them just to hold everything together till it heals. So these are really, really important. I do have a sewing kit, so if we're down to that, you can end up trying to do your own stitches. But the butterfly sutures are gonna be a good thing for sure. Band-aids are one of those great things. Okay, so now we just gotta be able to fit all this in one can. First thing, the needles, they're flat. This tin foil we'll put on the bottom, that's for my signaling. These sutures are on the bottom. You know what, I kind of would want to put all the medical stuff together, but I don't think I can do that. Anything that is super flat, I need to put more on towards the bottom. The compass there. Basically, the only thing I really need at the top is very important to be my fire starting, so that's what I'm going to do. So here's some knives. So you know what it asks for to do some like a medical knife. This would be more like what you would think, but maybe this is more practical in size to fit in the can. So I'm gonna put that in there, and if I can't fit this thing in, I think we're just gonna go with these knife blades. Okay, so now fishing stuff maybe. Where's my fishing line, and there's normal thread on the same spool. Put my fishing hooks. I feel like the snare can go down on there too. My fire starter. I'm gonna put my fire starter in, but it's gonna be right on the corner here. My matches. I'm going to try to put over here. My saw here. Flashlight probably should be near the fire starting stuff, just because you might need light to actually start a fire. Okay, so my water purifying pills. The Benadryl, that takes up a lot of space, this Benadryl. Advil. Aspirin. And bandages. Go here. They say you need this, so I want to try to make sure I fit everything in here. That's actually fitting a lot better like that. If you ever have to disassemble this thing, it'll be like a puzzle to get back in. But this cotton ball, these cotton balls are probably really important because, man, it'd be nice to have dry tinder to start a fire, especially if it's really damp and moist out. We're kind of artificially keeping that dry. Okay, I think this is better. Okay, so I took this out of the kit. I could have broke it down, but I do have really sharp box cutting knives in here, and there's about 4 or 5 of them. So I have 4 or 5 blades, and it makes everything nice and compact, and the lid's not popping. So I kind of think that's what we're gonna go with. So that's pretty good. So it's all together in one thing. I don't feel it necessary to use everything in the kit, but there is some things you need to be proficient at, and the flint starter, I need to be able to start a fire with that, so I'm probably gonna make a video with that. We're gonna make a few videos on how to start fires. Fires are one of those important things you need to know how to do. You don't wanna be learning how to do it in an emergency situation. So it's one of those things you really need to be proficient at, and you don't want to be learning in an emergency situation. So there you go. We went through the manual. We got our basic survival kit set up. There is a bigger kit that they talk about in the book that this kind of goes along with this. So we're going to build that probably in the next little bit. But it's really important to be emergency prepared, especially with the weather, everything the way it's going. So that's about enough for today, and you guys have a good